Welcome all to our Interfaith Prayer meeting that we have every week on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Sydney time. This is number 166. And the purpose of this interfaith meeting is to foster the devotional character of our society and to bring understanding among friends from different religions that all the religions have a common foundation, whereby we try to remove the religious prejudice, which is one of the serious obstacles for unity and peace in the world. And usually we have readings from different religions along with some music, and then we have some talks. And today the presenter is Dr. Ahmed Anis, and he gave a presentation about 4 weeks ago, the same topic, template for transformation of human society. This is part 2. Our readings today are based on human rights or related to human rights. So welcome all here, and those who have joined for the first time, welcome. And those who are listening online, you're welcome.
Siva Zora is here if you want to ask her to read.
So we will go to the devotional program. Please mute your microphone if you're not talking or reading. And it is our usual practice to honor Indigenous people and the land in Australia. And I found that this particular quotation from the Universal House of Justice, which is the supreme administrative body of the Baha'i faith, relevant and pertinent to the Indigenous people here. And it is widely applicable to all over the world anyway. It says, there is a widespread acknowledgement that the present day structures of society are ill prepared to address the needs of humanity in its current traverse. Much that was widely assumed to be certain and unshakable is being questioned, and the resulting ferment is producing a longing for a unifying vision. The chorus of voices raised in support of oneness, equality, and justice shows how many share these aspirations for their societies. So we, as a collective body in this group, we are all aspiring for this oneness, equality, and justice. And the Indigenous people in this country, they are the traditional owners of this land for more than 60,000 years. They have their own spirituality, culture, languages, and it has been turned in upside down since the foreigners came into this land, and their conditions currently are deplorable. And we, as a society, a community, a group, at least we can pray for their equality and justice. So we acknowledge and pay respect to the past, present, and future traditional custodians and elders of this nation we call Australia, and the continuation of cultural, spiritual, and educational practices of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. We acknowledge Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander tribes were the first sovereign nations of the Australian continent. The Gadigal of the Eora Nation are the traditional custodians of this place we now call Sydney, and Wangal people are the traditional owners of Burwood, where my wife Vasanda and I live. So now we will go to our devotional part with the first opening music.
Oppressors on earth, withdraw your hands from tyranny, for I have pledged myself not to forgive any man's injustice. This is my covenant, which I have irrevocably decreed in the preserved tablet, and sealed it with my seal of glory. This is my covenant, which I have irrevocably decreed in the preserved tablet, and sealed it with my seal of glory, of glory, of glory, of glory, of glory. This is my covenant.
At present, the light of reconciliation is dimmed in most countries, and its radiance extinguished, while the fire of strife and disorder hath been kindled and is blazing fiercely. Two great powers, who regard themselves as the founders and leaders of civilization and the framers of constitutions, have risen up against the followers of the faith associated with him who conversed with God. Be ye warned, O men of understanding, it ill beseemeth the station of man to commit tyranny. Rather it behoveth him to observe equity, and be attired with the raiment of justice under all conditions. Beseech ye the one true God, that he may, through the power of the hand of loving kindness and spiritual education, purge and purify certain souls from the defilement of evil passions and corrupt desires, that they may arise and unloose their tongues for the sake of God, that perchance the evidences of injustice may be blotted out, and the splendor of the light of justice may shed its radiance upon the whole world. Baha'i Scripture.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. The Christian scripture.
Let us behave with others as we do with ourselves. Let us look upon all living beings as our good friends, for in all of them there resides one soul. All are but part of a universal soul. The person who believes that all are his soulmates and loves them all alike never feels lonely. The divine qualities of forgiveness, compassion, and service will make him lovable in the eyes of all. He will experience intense joy throughout his life. In the scripture.
May the wise Lord who reigns at his will grant to each of us that which he desires. I desire strength and endurance to uphold righteousness. This do thou give me, O devotion, the rich reward, the life of the good mind, and may the sovereign good be ours. According as one desires bliss, may one receive bliss through thy most foreseeing Spirit. O Lord, the wonders of good mind, which thou wilt give as righteousness, with the joy of long life all the days. Zoroastrian scripture.
In safety and in peace, may the creatures of all be of a peaceful heart. Whatever living things they are, whether weak or strong, with none excepted, great or small, seen or unseen, darting far or near, born or awaiting birth, may all be blessed with peace. Let no one work another one's undoing, or show contempt in any place. Let no one wish another harm through provocation or resentful thought. That is, a mother with her life protects her child. Her only child, let all the embracing thoughts for all that please be yours. And no embracing love for all the universe in all its height and depth and breadth. Buddhist scriptures.
Hina,
Oh, sorry. I was reading. I thought I was unmuted. And when you reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest, and thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of thy vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and for the stranger. I am the Lord your God. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another, and ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the saying of thy God. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee at all night until the morning. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shall fear thy God. I am the Lord. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor favor the person of the mighty. But in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among the people, neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge, nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. From Jewish scripture.
And seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and he was set. His disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Christian scripture. Sorry.
In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Mankind was but one people, and God sent prophets to announce glad tidings and to warn. And he sent down with them the book of truth, that it might decide the disputes of men. And none disputed but those to whom the book had been given, after the clear tokens had reached them, being full of mutual jealousy. And God guided those who believed to the truth of that about which, by his permission, they had disputed. For God guided whom he pleased into straight path. Islamic scripture.
O humankind, verily, ye are all the leaves and fruits of one tree, ye are all one. Therefore associate in friendship, love one another, abandon prejudices of race, dispel forever this gloomy darkness of human ignorance. For the century of light, the Sun of reality, hath appeared. Now is the time for affiliation, and now is the period of unity and concord. For thousands of years ye have been contending in warfare and strife. It is enough. Now is the time for unity. Lay aside all self-purposes, and know for a certainty that all men are the servants of one God, who will bind them together in love and agreement. By Scripture.
Come down and walk these roads around the city of Tehran, where 7 candles burn. Follow me, all you who claim to be possessed of charity, down to the crimson sea. 100,000 veils have covered the sun, and darkest clouds have blocked and blackened the blue sky. Did you hear the fate of those who educate, who even in the grave find no respite from hate? Have you seen the youth who gave their lives for truth? That girl who kissed the noose and welcomed all abuse. 100,000 sons have fallen to earth, with blasts that block the ears from hearing the new song. 100,000 veils have covered the truth. How many mothers' cries are lost in the tumult? There is no war to fight. You have no sacred right, no holy book to cite, to make these wrongs seem right. Does it so offend to want this world to mend, to walk in hope to the end, and see each man a friend? Come down and walk these roads around the cities of Iran, which boast so much to man.
Thank you, friends. I hope you enjoyed those readings and music. Now I welcome Ahmed to give his presentation on the topic of template for transformation of human society. It's part 2. Before we go to that, I just want to remind that we as a group, we are trying to do something good for the society. And this statement to find a common point of unity around contrasting perspectives is an important thing. It says, whether through deeds or words, the merit of your every contribution to social well-being lies first in your resolute commitment to discover that precious point of unity where contrasting perspectives overlap and around which contending peoples can coalesce. This is from the Universal Laws of Justice, dated 25th of November 2020. So let us discuss and find the common point of unity and travel together. Thank you. And Ahmed, the floor is yours. And you can share your PPT.
Okay, is that share is allowed?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just set it up. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, yes.
Okay, as I mentioned last time, a month ago, this is not a talk, it's a review of a letter from Universal House of Justice. Now, 2 years ago, in 2021, the Baha'i World commemorated the ascension of Abdul Baha, the centenary of the passing of Abdul Baha. And then in 28th of November 2023, the Universal House of Justice presented to the Baha'is of the world this letter, which is a very long letter, and really describes the purpose of the Baha'i faith. And it's got at the beginning of it a lot of history, so that to let the people know what's happening. What I've done is remove the history section because it's easy for anybody to Google that and go and find out if they want to. So what I've done is extracted passages of these paragraphs that are relevant about pattern of transformation. Now, the purpose of Baha'i faith, and I have to say I'm a Baha'i as well, that the purpose of Baha'i faith is pivoted on unity of mankind. Now, I did about 10 of the slides last time. I've got about 17 slides. So just to refresh ourselves, I have selected a few paragraphs out of those 10 slides that I'm going to read and to bring us to the point where we stopped last time. So this letter is for was presented to the Baha'is of the world, but they also mentioned it in that letter. The people of the world are welcome to, share it, use it, and grasp what's the purpose of the Baha'i faith in uniting mankind. Somehow my screen doesn't move. I don't know why. Let me just try and, okay. I think I have to go slide by slide. Yeah, let's go. I just have to swap this. I think I've moved my slide to the other side. Sorry, give me a minute. I sort this out because I think I've moved it to the wrong place. Um, Sorry, I've lost the access to where I can transfer this to the other presentation, and it doesn't want to go up there. I'll stay with this. Okay. For the start, the task of building a mature, peaceful, just, and united world is a vast undertaking in which every people and nation must be able to participate. The Baha'i community welcomes all to join in this endeavor as protagonists in a spiritual enterprise that can overcome the forces of disintegration, eroding the old social order, and give tangible form to an interactive process that will lead to an unfoldment of a new world order in its state. As I said in my previous talk, that Baha'is believe that the world order is changing. We are at a point where unity of mankind has become very important. So they're saying that although this task is very difficult, but it's achievable. They also say history has amply demonstrated that religion can serve either as a powerful instrument for cooperation to propel the advancement of civilization or as a source of conflict that yields incalculable harm. The unifying and civilizing power of religion begins to decline as the followers come to disagree on the meaning and application of divine teachings, and the community of the faithful eventually becomes divided into contending sects and denominations. And we can see this in many of the faiths. Faiths have divided into many denominations, and the House of Justice says that this is because the followers disagree on the meaning of the text of their faith. To give you another paragraph, Baha'u'llah's purpose is to usher a new stage in human development, the organic and spiritual unity of the peoples and nations of the world, signalizing thereby the coming of age of human race and characterized in the fullness of time by the emergence of a world civilization and culture. The Baha'is believe that eventually humanity will come together and bring up this world civilization and culture that engulfs the whole of humanity. Now, this community, the people of Baha, now they describe our history of the faith and what the Baha'is are about. This community, the people of Baha, now millions strong, has today spread to some 100,000 localities in 235 countries and territories. It has emerged from obscurity to occupy its place on the world stage. It has raised a network of thousands of institutions from the grassroots to the international level, uniting diverse peoples in the common purpose of spiritual transformation and social progress. And then also just this paragraph, in such settings, a new way of life is taking shape, distinguished by its devotional character, the commitment of youth to education and service, purposeful conversation among families, friends, and acquaintances on themes of spiritual and social import, and collective endeavors for material and social progress. This is happening in the Baha'i community. So let me go to another paragraph from last month. The emergence and development of the administrative order. Now, the Baha'i faith has got an administrative order that runs the community. And before that, I have to say that every faith has a covenant with God, and Baha'is as well have a covenant that they abide by. Covenant with God, covenant with the manifestation of God. So they're saying that the emergence and development of the administrative order, the child of the covenant, in a single century, the administration, which began with a focus on the establishment of elected institutions, grow in breadth and complexity, unfolding throughout the world until it linked all peoples, countries, and regions. The writings of Baha'u'llah and Abdul Baha that called these institutions into being also provide the vision and the spiritual mandate for these institutions to assist humanity in constructing a just and peaceful world. I have to say that in this letter, Universal Justice refer to a number of books. One is Divine, the Will and Testament of Abdul Baha. The other one is a message that Universal Justice presented to the world. It's called Peace, World Peace. And there is a book from Shori Effendi, the grandson of Abdul Baha, that is called Divine. Let me just bring it. Okay. Lost it. It's the Advent of Divine Justice. I always confused. There are two books with similar names, so I wanted to make sure that I've got the right name. Now, I've also selected this from the past month. Across advanced cultures and between villages and neighborhoods that are centers of intense activity, a community emerges with a sense of common identity, will, and purpose, providing an environment for nurturing the capacity of individuals and uniting them in a range of complementary and mutually reinforcing activities that welcome all and seek to uplift everyone. Such communities are increasingly becoming distinguished by the sense of unity among their members, their freedom from prejudice and all kinds, their devotional character, their commitment to the equality of men and women, their selfless service to humanity, their educational processes and cultivation of virtue, and their capacity to systematically learn and contribute to the material, social, and spiritual progress of society. Now, in last month, I explained that they're talking about these three protagonists, which is individual, community, and the institutions. And they're saying that these three, when they are hand in hand, they would develop the world into unity, bring the unity of the world. So they're saying that this is happening in the Baha'i community. Gradually, these three protagonists are developing their capacities, and they reaching to that point that we would like to go, the world unity of mankind. Now, from here onwards, I'd like to read the paragraphs and just explain a little bit. I hope I don't give you a headache by reading these, but I think it's important to know what they're talking about, how the Baha'is would like to achieve this world peace.
If you want, you can ask the audience to read.
Okay, if I get tired, I will ask them. I prefer to read them myself so that my kind of commentary on it goes through as well. As a result of these new relationships and capacities of the three protagonists, the circle of those with the ability to think and act strategically has widened, while assistance, resources, and encouragement and loving guidance are extended wherever needed. Experience and insight are shared throughout the world, from the grassroots to the international level. So the Baha'is have a staged thing. We have local communities, local administration, national community, national administration, and we have a world body called Universal Social Justice that governs the Baha'i world. And we believe the Universal Social Justice would be the body that would eventually, when the world gets united, would take the affairs of the whole world in hand and make sure things go in the right way. The pattern of life created by this dynamic engagement encompasses millions of souls from all walks of life, animated by Baha'u'llah's vision of a united world. In country after country, it has shown the attention of parents, educators, traditional leaders, officials, and leaders of thought to the power of his system to address the world's pressing needs. As we know, there's so various problems at the moment in the world that need to be taken care of. And the Baha'i is trying to bring the people together to address these problems. Naturally, not every community, this is talking about the Baha'i community, exhibits the characteristics of the most advanced. Indeed, the Baha'i history, this has ever been so. Nevertheless, the appearance of new capacities in any one place signals an evident advance and serves as an augury that others will surely follow in that path. So the Baha'i community with these administrations have different levels in capacity, and they're saying that although some are not in full capacity, but we see changes that are happening to raise that capacity in the community and also help the outside world. Over a quarter century, this process of learning about growth gave rise to a range of concepts, instruments, and approaches which continually enhance the community's evolving framework for action. Now, the Baha'i community, we believe that develops in an organic way. It tests things. If it works, it uses it. If it works in one place, it will implement it in other places to see whether it works in other places. So this is an organic growth. It's not mimicry. It's seeing if something that worked properly and then implement it. Among the most prominent of these features was the creation of a network of training institutes offering educational programs for children, junior youth and adults for empowering their friends in large numbers and enabling them to enhance the capacities for service. And then we can see, if you go and look at the Baha'i communities all over the world, these training institutes are happening now and is developing the capacity of the people. Another was the construct of clusters, which facilitate the systematization of teaching work in manageable geographic areas through the initiation and gradual strengthening of programs of growth and accelerated the spread and development of the faith within each country and across the world. Obviously, based on regional things might not be the same situation for people who reside in those areas. So they divided the whole world into clusters of localities. And these clusters, depending on the geographic and the cultural, they are put into a program of development. Within such programs of growth, a new pattern of community life emerged, beginning with the multiplication of 4 core activities that served as portals for the entry of large numbers, combined with a range of other efforts, including individual and collective teaching, visiting homes, hosting social gatherings, observing feasts and holidays, administering community affairs, and promoting activities for social and economic development, all of which together will affect a change in the spiritual character of the community and strengthen social ties among individuals and families. Baha'is have this thing called feast, which is every 19 days, the community comes together. It's got 3 sections. It's got a devotional section, administration section, and social section. So Baha'is go through raising their spirit, talking about the affairs of the community at that feast, and then they socialize to have social bonds. And they're saying that this program of growth is happening and communities are building on that. So going to involvement of the life of the society, which is another section of this letter. Here another dimension of the unfoldment of Abdu'l-Baha's divine plan. Let me say this, Baha'u'llah's will and testament or divine plan is a plan that Baha'u'llah has established for establishment of a world civilization. Abdu'l-Baha's divine plan is a greater involvement of the Baha'i community in the life of the society. From the inception of its ministry, Shawki Effendi drew the attention of the friends again and again to the power of Baha'u'llah's revelation to effect an organic change in society, a process which would ultimately result in the emergence of a spiritual civilization. Baha'is therefore had to learn to apply Baha'u'llah's teachings not only for personal and spiritual transformation, but also for material and social change, beginning within their own communities and then gradually extending their efforts to embrace the wider society. So this is happening in the Baha'i community. We are developing our individual communities, and we at the same time trying to help the outside world to see the implementation of these changes that will bring into a spiritual world civilization. Within a decade, hundreds of development activities have been initiated around the world, addressing a range of concerns such as the advancement of women, education, health, mass communication, agriculture, economic activity, and the environment. Activity range along a spectrum of complexity, fairly simple activities of short duration in villages and towns were organized in response to specific problems and challenges faced in those localities. Sustained projects such as school and clinic were established to meet social needs over an extended period of time, often along with organizational structures to ensure their viability and effectiveness. Now, we live in a country that many of these things are already established by the government. But there are many places in the world that these things are not established. There are many places that they don't have schools and they don't have, environmental activities, teachings of agriculture and economy. So based on those clusters, they have established these things, these development activities based on the geographic area of the world. And so the Baha'is are trying to overcome the problems of the society at a local area at the same time. Now, the friends came to understand a set of fundamental concepts. Now, these are the concepts that they say are needed for this transformation. The world is not divided into categories of developed and underdeveloped. All are in need of transformation and environment, and an environment that provides the spiritual, social, and mental conditions necessary to their security and flourishing. Development is not a process carried out by one people or on behalf of another. Rather, people themselves, wherever they reside, are the protagonists of their own development. Now, they're saying that you know, the world today, people look at areas and they say, okay, this area is developed of the world and that's undeveloped of the world. They're saying that you have to look at it differently. Every community, every locality in the world needs these three things: a spiritual transformation, social transformation, and material transformation. They might be in the different levels, but they need these three things at the same time. So even the developed countries require these transformations, these three, based on their level. So this development has to start locally, implemented locally, but at the same time be a global activity. Then they say access to knowledge and participation in its generation, application and diffusion is at the heart of the endeavor. Efforts start small and grow in complexity as experience accumulates. Now we know that to have knowledge, it's a power. So they're saying that access to knowledge is important for everyone in the world. Programs whose effectiveness has been demonstrated in one region can be systematically introduced into another. As these principles and concepts are applied within a particular setting, the friends become increasingly adept at analyzing the social conditions, growing insight from the writings and from various relevant fields of knowledge, and initiating activities that are fully integrated with the work of the community building. Now, this is happening locally in the Baha'i community. Every locality looks at their effectiveness in developing their community, and then they saying that if this activity in one place works very well, then it can be transferred to another place and see whether that works there as well. If it works, they can take over and do it as well. So this is happening all over the world in the Baha'i community. Now, parallel with the systematic unfoldment of the process of expansion and consolidation and of a social and economic development, another major area of action has emerged: greater participation in the prevalent discourses of society. In an increasing number of social settings where deliberation on human problems occur, Baha'is seek to share relevant insight drawn from the ocean of Baha'u'llah's revelation. It was Baha'u'llah himself who initially proclaimed his healing remedy directly to the world's leaders and appealed for its adoption for all humanity. So the Baha'is now, after developing their communities to some extent, they are in a state where they can have prevalent discourse with the society, the outside society, and try to help them towards world unity. Notwithstanding the failure of the kings and rulers to respond affirmatively to the divine nature of his claim, he called upon them to apply his principles for the establishment of world peace. Not that he quote, this is a quote from him, not that ye have refused the most great peace, hold ye fast unto this the lesser peace, that happily ye may in some degree better your own condition and that of all of your dependents. Now, Baha'is believe, based on the writings, that we have two stages towards the world peace. We aiming at a golden age where there's most great peace, and we aiming at a lesser peace. Well, the world will eventually come together and stop warring between fractions and try to unite. But it would be a fragile peace, and that's why it's called lesser peace. He wrote to the kings and rulers, and they disregarded his approach. Now, in his second letters to the rulers, he said that, okay, let's try at least a lesser peace where all gets together. And then we could go towards that most great peace that Baha'is believe will happen. Abdu'l-Baha in writings such as the Tablet to the Heart, and especially in talks delivered during his travels to the West, unceasingly proclaimed his father's teachings to the powerful and the masses, grappling with the myriad difficulties facing humanity. Now, Abdu'l-Baha traveled through Europe and America, and he expressed that the world is going towards chaos and difficulties. And we see it now after 100 years, he went in 1921, and now we are 100 years after, and we see the graveness of the difficulties that are happening in the world. So he mentioned that these things are happening. I don't have much more slides to go, only 3 to go. Involvement at all these levels of society becomes more pressing as the process of disintegration of the world order intensifies and discourse becomes increasingly coarsened and polarized, leading to the recursiveness of conflict among the competing factions and ideologies that divide humanity. Last year, we have experienced this polarization in the world. It's happening in our world. It's polarized and coerced. This is intensifying, and humanity has to stop and think if it wants a world unity. In keeping with their understanding that the transformation envisioned by Baha'u'llah calls for the participation of everyone, Baha'is seek to work with the many sympathetic individuals and organizations who pursue common objectives. Now, there are many communities, non-Baha'i communities, that have this objective of world peace, and Baha'is try to work with them so that we can achieve it faster. In such a collaborative effort, the friends share insight from the teachings of Baha'u'llah, as well as practical lessons gained in their own community building efforts, while at the same time learning from the experience of their collaborating partners. So it goes hand to hand. We're not saying that we know all the knowledge, we have all the knowledge. The knowledge belongs to all humanity. And by cohesion and by clash of these ideas, we will achieve the right path towards world peace. In working with individuals, communities, and organizations, both civil and governmental, the Friends maintained awareness that the discourse on many social issues may become contentious or entangled with political ambitions. In all settings where Baha'is become more deeply engaged with the wider society, they seek to foster consensus and unity of thought, and to promote collaboration and a common search for solutions to humanity's pressing problems. To them, the means by which the end is attained is as important as the end itself. So we think that this is a process that we have to go through, work as individuals, communities, and administrative bodies, organizations, to try to bring attention to the problems of the world and try to solve them and bring that world peace eventually. By the final years of the first century of the formative age, now we believe that in Baha'i faith, we say that after passing of Abdu'l-Baha, the first century, which is the prophetic century, has passed, and we went into a formative age in 1921 onwards. And we now have passed about 100 years of that. By the final years of the first century of the formative age of Baha'i faith, a common framework for action had emerged that has become central to the work of the community and which informs thoughts and gives shape to ever more complex and effective activities. Baha'is are now developing to a point where they can have effective activities in the world. This framework continually evolves through the accumulation of experience and the guidance of the universal justice. As I said, you have different level bodies, and there are governing bodies, and so they look at the whole of the universal justice is looking at global view of the development. The national one looks at the national development, and the local one, the local spiritual assembly, looks at the local development of their community. Other elements that also contribute to thought and action involves values, attitudes, concepts, and methods. Still, others include the understanding of the physical and social world through insights from various branches of knowledge. Baha'is believe that science and religion has to go hand in hand. So we need scientific knowledge in order to achieve this world peace. It needs scientific pattern or way of approach to achieve that world peace. Within this continually evolving framework, Baha'is are learning how to systematically translate Baha'u'llah's teachings into action to realize his high aims for the betterment of the world. The significance of this increased capacity for learning and its implications for the advancement of humanity at the current stage of its social development cannot be overestimated. So as you can see, Baha'i is trying to achieve a systematic way of bringing the world peace to the world community. Now, this letter goes further, but I have stopped bringing the other parts of it because it's not really, that section is talking about future way of pattern that we have to go. But this last paragraph really gives the gist of the rest of the letter. A plethora of destructive forces and events, including environmental degradation, climate change, pandemics, the decline of religion and morals, the loss of meaning and identity, erosion of concepts of truth and reason, unbridled technology, the exacerbation of prejudice and ideological contention, pervasive corruption, political and economic upheaval, war and genocide have left their traces in blood and anguish on the pages of history and the lives of billions. This is our problems at the moment. Every one of those concepts are the problems of the society today. And past history has shown this pattern over the history of mankind. And then they say, at the same time, hopefully constructive trends can also be discerned, which are contributing to that universal fermentation, which Shoghi Effendi said is purging and reshaping humanity in anticipation of the day when the wholeness of the human race will have been recognized and its unity established. As I said in my last month presentation, there are two things happening. The world order is disintegrating. We see it now. We're seeing that disintegration is not working anymore because the science has brought us together. But at the same time, there are actions that are happening in the world, like technology, that brings the world together and tries to unite the whole humanity. Now, the last paragraph, the diffusion of the spiritual world solidarity, a greater consciousness of global interdependence, the emergence of collaborative action among individuals and institutions, and a heightened longing for justice and peace are profoundly transforming human relationships. And thus, the movement of the world towards Baha'u'llah's vision advances in countless halting steps, in occasional dramatic leaps, and with intermittent stretches where process stalls or is even reversed, as humanity forges the relationships that constitute the foundation of a united and peaceful world. Now we see further to this, they're saying that this is the nature of the problem. We see the old order disintegrating. We need a new world order that establishes. Baha'is present this administrative pattern of governing as a way of governing the world. And at the same time, they're saying that there is a need for transformation for individual, so communities or society, and the administrative bodies of the world. These three need three things: spiritual, social, and political, physical transformations in order to achieve a world peace and a united human race. That's for kind of the gist of what I've understood from the letters of the Universal House of Justice to the Baha'is and to the world regarding the future of mankind.
Thank you.
I'm passing to
Thank you, Amar. It's a marathon effort to summarize. That's
it is a big letter, long letter.
yes, and to extract that is relevant to building a vibrant society. So we can now comment or questions. I
just want to say that it is important to know that whatever our faith is, whether we are a Baha'i, a Muslim, or Christian, or a Jew, we need world unity at this stage of life, of world. In order to achieve that, we need transformation of the society.
Yeah.
And I say that this transformation is based on a spiritual pattern. So we need a revision of our thoughts and come to a common pattern of life. That doesn't mean that we have to go and become same all over the world. Baha'is believe in world unity in diversity.
Yes, one of the things
I think Zohar.
Who? Zore. Okay, Zore.
Yes, hello. Sorry, I'm not turning on my camera, but thank you very much, Ahmad, for the talk. Yes, it's very promising, and it's very like it's you know, you wish for the world to be like that, but do you think this is going to happen soon, or is going to happen, or how do you feel that the humanity is ready for this at this stage, or could you explain it more?
Well, as Universal Social Justice said, there are two things that are happening at the same time: the disintegration of the world order and the formation of a new world order. Now, each one of them have characteristics that we see. And now, if you look at the world like it is, they say it's becoming polarized, becoming disintegrated, because the old order doesn't work anymore. We have these communist countries in one hand and these capitalist countries in one hand. None of them have got the solution. We have problems in individual countries where parties are against each other. They're not working for the whole of the country. One party comes on power and causes problems. The other one comes after and causes another problem. So to answer your question whether I see this happening or not, this is a process that it takes time. We don't know exactly when the change would be achievable, but Baha'is are establishing that pattern that would lead to that. So we believe that if we change in achieve these transformations, the social, spiritual, social, and physical transformations, then that is achievable. Now, but I have to say something. I always say this to people when they say, "Oh, look at this wall, this disintegrating." The Berlin Wall was there many years. I think it's 40-something years, separating the East and West Germany. It came down within 1 week. The wall was demolished after 1 month, completely. So we don't know what the future has in hand. It could be sudden, it could take some time, but I think it would be very similar to the Berlin Wall. Once people understand the problems and find out that, look, their structure, all the structure is not working anymore, then they come to that realization. And when we have a critical mass of people, then that mass would suddenly transform the world.
Thank you very much. Yes. But I always feel destruction, as you said, like the fall of Berlin Wall is always quick, but the no, building up is that's the one which takes time. And
Yeah,
looking,
East and West Germany took a long time to be united, but now they are united.
yes,
It's one country now. And
Yes.
actually, Baha'is show the community of Australia as a pattern where all different communities of the world have come together in this country, and they're living together in a peaceful manner. So they have actually mentioned this as a model of societies living together.
Thank you.
But it is hard. It's hard to see the outcome. The outcome is obscure because there are clouds at the moment. But the clouds eventually will disappear, and then the outcome will be easier to see.
Thank you.
Thank
And,
Yeah.
Tracy has put a comment saying thank you and very interesting. Hardly agree. The means is very important. That's
Yeah.
from and Jung.
Thank you. Thank you, Perry. In your reading, you did mention about polarization, and when we heard about that word,
Yeah.
we know exactly what it is. It's a division between the rich and the poor, the powerful and the not powerful, and the socialist and capitalist countries. So there are divisions already there. The thing that the pattern for transformation should be going from the top-down control governing institutions first, then society, community, then the individual. Because you see, in a normal situation, a person get into a system they call regime, like socialist regime or capitalist regime. So that is starting with government institutions, democracy or not democracy. Then from there, the governing institution will have a lot of instruction and law govern the community and the society. And then the individual will have to follow all the rules. So that's how it's go to the other way. It's not that the way that you say,
Yeah.
because you mentioned about spiritual transformation, but our societies in real life situation that they perform in a different way. Therefore, our progress is going a different way for what you expect or expectation. Just like reach the moon.
Yeah.
You reach the moon in a different way. Thank you.
In that paragraph that you're referring, when they're saying polarization, they're referring about the old order. They're saying that the old order is causing this polarization of communities. It's saying that as a result of clash of these old order concepts, people are in problems. Environment is in problem. Society is in problem. And religion is disintegrating. So they're saying this about the world order. Obviously, as you said, the world order is based on top category going downwards. Whereas the Baha'is are saying the reverse. They're saying that in order to bring a world unity, you have to start from the individual, then the community or society, and then the administrative bodies. It's a completely reversed way of thinking, and is based on three things: spiritual, social, and physical concepts coming together. We say, or Baha'u'llah has said, that the world needs a spiritual transformation. And as a result of transformation, a lot of the problems will disappear. So obviously, if you look at it that way, yeah, the world is dividing, disintegrated, problems are there. But you have to think that these problems are as a result of an order that is not working anymore and is causing problems. You know, like our government today, one party is trying to bring the other party down, is not working with them. They always cause problems for the issues that are talked in parliament. But the Baha'is say that this way, the old way of doing it is not working anymore. So we have to have a community gathering, assembly of the Baha'i, you see what Baha'is have at assemblies, an assembly that are elected by the community. They can take the affair in their hand and then help. But at the same time, those members are not governing, they are serving. You have to remember, if you read this letter, they specifically say that the institutions have to be serving institutions, not governing institutions. It's very important. It's very, very important. Yeah. It was echo, sorry. This is very important thing, that they have to be serving institutions rather than governing institutions. Serving institutions would try to help the community to develop the affairs of the people, but governing people, but governing institutions, like dictators, do not care about the common people. They just want to forward their affairs and their agendas.
But the way you're saying is not, it haven't been followed by the university and all the school and all the kindergarten, education programs.
Yeah, absolutely.
It hasn't been followed.
I don't
It hasn't
disagree
been
with
followed
that.
at all.
I don't disagree with you that they're not followed. The reason is that this is new, a new concept. Baha'u'llah has brought a new concept for governing the world. And it takes time for it to transform the society in order to reverse the direction. We're still in the old order. We still have these political parties. We still have dictators. We still have, poor and wealthy communities. We still have developed and non-developed communities. These are concepts of the world old order. and they have to go. Otherwise, unity of mankind will not happen. So these are the things that we believe gradually will disappear, and a new order will come instead of it. And the Baha'is are trying to develop it in their own community first, and showing that pattern to the world and saying that, look at this pattern. It's working in our community. You should try it as well.
Yes, yeah, they are also now working with the wider community and the like-minded organizations.
Exactly, because there are people in the world that believe in these concepts of equality of men and women. Look what's happening in Iran. They degraded women in that country by this revolution that is mockery of Islam. So,
Ahmed, I think Pina has a comment or question. Pina,
okay, yeah.
you have to unmute.
Can you?
Yes, unmute. Okay.
Yes. So, as mentioned in the paragraph 64 of this message from the Universal House of Justice, it says, now that you have refused, the most great peace, hold ye fast unto this, the lesser peace, that ye may in some degree better your own condition and that of your own dependents. So we have refused the most great peace. What did we do? What happened? And what happened if we have achieved that?
Well, we would have a better world now if we had accepted it, if the leaders of the world had accepted it. But they didn't. He wrote twice to the leaders of the world. The first time he put forward his concepts of world peace and unity of mankind, unity in diversity, but they refused many of the words. I mean, Queen Victoria said, for example, if this is from God, it will flourish. And if it's not, it will disappear. So that was the most positive view that we could find out of the views of the leaders of the world. Then he sent a second set of messages to the world leaders. And as you can see in that paragraph, he says that, okay, you did not accept the great peace of unity of mankind in one go. Now try lesser peace. At least come together, try not to war with each other, and perhaps that will lead you towards the greatest peace. And this is the pattern that we are going through. We still haven't reached even to the lesser peace. It's a process. That's all I can say.
There was a reference to the public discourse. I believe this forum that we have is a sort of public discourse. Now, how in the wider setting of the Baha'is, how are they doing this public discourse?
Well, it varies between community and community. There's so many reports of activities and participation from what I've seen, for example, in Balcom Hills, for example, they done some nice activities with this society outside. So it really varies from one place to another at the moment, because we're still learning. The Baha'i community is still learning and trying to develop concepts that would be relevant to the outside society as well.
So I believe even as individuals, when we have conversations with others on social issues, that can also be public discourse. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. For example, in forgot the name of it. It's a western suburb in here. A group of Baha'is started this institute process, and now non-Baha'is are running those institutes for their community to develop. What's the name? I forgot the name of the area. It's very popular. There's a lot of islanders that live there.
Mounders.
Oh, Montreux, that's it. I'm so bad with names, I'll lose names. Yeah, Montreux, for example, has established these institutes in the community, and then the non-Baha'is have taken over of these institutes. They're running it themselves in the schools and in their communities because they see the relevance of it, relevance of these thoughts for the society. So it varies at the moment because we are learning, we are in a stage of development, it's a process, and things are different at different ages. And the Universal Hospital Justice mentioned this, is saying that we've seen big activities in one community, but we see small tangible activities in another community. So this is happening all over the world.
United States is we things like. May I say something?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the discourse that we are representing the faith, to be able to be effective to the social issues, like they present a problem, and the Baha'is are there to take from what the Baha'i writing says, so that we could be able to present the solution to humanity.
Yeah.
And to be effective is that we ourselves have to be so imbued or so enlightened from the writings of Baha'u'llah, and we try our best to be the example of what we are saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then only it gives effect. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, as the Universal Justice said in that letter, the transformation has to start by individual. The individual has to have this spiritual transformation in themselves. Then once most of people have this transformation, the transformation happens in the society. And the administrative structure of the Baha'i faith is these individuals that become members of those institutions. And if they are transformed, the institutions will be transformed as well. So it goes hand by hand. But this is a structure that is presented to the world. But at the same time, you have to remember, Baha'is, in order not to cause problems or political problems, Baha'u'llah has said, avoid political participation, partisan participation, because we believe that we are here to bring world unity. The world unity belongs to everyone. Although I've said things about the Iranian government for now, but we still say that those people that are ruling, they have to be transformed. They are part of us. They're not separate to us. Humanity is one. And we have to educate everyone to bring this level of understanding that world unity is needed today, and those other things. As a result, participating in politics of today is prohibited. We don't participate because then we're going to cause division if we follow that. Yes. So our discourse with the outside society has to be based on the principles of the Baha'i faith, the principles of world unity.
Yes, thank you. Well, maybe it's time for us to conclude.
Yeah.
Um,
Unfortunately, we keep losing non-Baha'i friends, and this is saddening. Well,
people may be listening on the online,
yeah, maybe they're listening privately.
and because of the fast, maybe some of the friends couldn't come.
Yeah, yeah.
And Jung, and then Pina, then we can finish with that.
Okay.
I won't be long. I'm just when you talk about individual first and then community later. I was thinking about all the refugee kids, all the kids that got displaced now at the moment by the missile. So they, as individuals, they got nothing in their hands. They don't even have parents. Mom and dad not even there, and they just hang around and like not only them, most other people in the same situation, so they cannot govern their material needs because they wait for food from overseas to bring in. So what I'm saying, the plan and the vision here will need probably another 100,000 years to complete. As you
Well, it's
say,
possible.
as you say.
It's possible that that could happen 100 years from now, but we have to be optimistic that we are going to go forward, and it will happen shortly, sooner than what you think. As I said, you have to remember these problems are the problems that the old world order has brought to the society. No, now, as I also mentioned, an example of the Berlin Wall. We don't know the transformation when it happens. But we have to be optimistic that the world has to come together. And these are the means that Baha'u'llah has presented. And these administrative concepts, these spiritual concepts, that if we follow, maybe that transformation will happen sooner and might not take 100 years from now. But remember, the Christianity became a world religion 300 years after Christ, when Constantine in Rome took the Christianity as the religion of the country. So, and then it flourished, Christianity flourished from then onwards. So it needs a critical mass. We're not there yet. And if you have understanding of the science of critical mass, once you have a critical mass of atoms colliding, then you can have an atomic bomb. It would be huge explosion. So that critical mass needs to happen. And the Baha'is are trying to build that critical mass.
Thank you. And yes, they are working with the wider
Wider community that believes in the same concept.
And Pina?
Yes, the Baha'is are working, as well as those who are not yet, or how you call it, they have not formally declared Baha'is, but probably in their hearts, who knows, they are Baha'is. Yeah. Because Abdul Baha said that there are people who do not know Baha'u'llah and his teachings, but already they are practicing the teachings of Baha'u'llah.
Exactly.
And they are considered Baha'is, even though they haven't heard of Baha'u'llah.
Yeah.
They are considered Baha'is. And these people, and many of them, are working for the betterment of the world, along with the Baha'is. Yeah. They may have not proclaimed or declared or formally declared or embraced the faith by declaring or signing a card. In their heart, in their actions, who knows, in God's eyes, they are Baha'is.
Yeah.
And also in the paragraph 41, that this is so exciting. I'm so excited when I read this, because the administrative order will assert its claim and demonstrate its capacity to be regarded not only as the nucleus but the very pattern of the New World Order destined to embrace in the fullness of time the whole of mankind.
Yeah, it's a process. It takes time. We don't know when it happens, but this is the belief of the Baha'is that this is the pattern that will happen. This is the way the world will go towards unity, towards a new administrative order, towards a spiritual, devotional community, as they say in the letter. And the Baha'is are trying to establish it. Interesting statistics. Yesterday, I was looking at the statistics about hijab in Iran. Now, it was saying that girls between 15 and 25, 78% of the population of Iran are against the females, are against hijab. Then older ones is less. Now you see that the younger people are going towards that without knowing consciously that these are the principles that the Baha'i faith has brought. Unity of mankind, or equality of men and women is now established all over the world. Many worlds, many of the countries have this. So these concepts are gradually creeping into the world, but it's a process.
And we had to remind ourselves. I think I have read this quotation from Shoghi Effendi. What is the relationship of Baha'i faith to the rest of the religions? So in that he says, rather than overthrowing this belief system, the purpose of Baha'i faith is to restate their fundamentals and reinvigorate their purpose and to reestablish their pristine teachings. And he goes on to say that the faith of God is one, and Baha'i faith is an integral part of that faith, like Christianity and Islam and Buddhism. We have to see in a different light. Instead of thinking that everyone has to become Baha'is, if everyone understands what the faith of God or the religion of God is one, these are progressive in nature. And if all accept every manifestation of God as a manifestation of God and try to find the common thing around all these things, and we work together to transform us all spiritually and materially and socially, then eventually it will go on. I mean, this is not the end of the revelation of God. There will be another one to come, and there's so many thousands of years or millions of years, we don't know. So what is the purpose of the interfaith meeting, and also as Baha'is, is to understand the progressive nature of religion, and the religion of God or the faith of God is one, and we are part of it. And even amongst other religions, we should try to promote unity among that religious friends. Like Christianity, there are many divisions. In Islam, there are many divisions. We should try to encourage them to unite. If the process is happening that way, they will understand that there is one God and one religion. We are all part of it, and this is progressive. When they understand that concept, they accept the teachings of Baha'u'llah gradually.
Yeah, I have to say two things. One, Baha'u'llah says this ancient root, he describes the faith of God and this ancient root and its branches. So the whole religion, concept of religion is single, is one. We see different branches of that one single root. Yeah. I'm forgetting what the second thing that I wanted to say.
While you think about it, Zore has to say something. Zore?
Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to say is thank you everybody, because it was a beautiful discussion, and it also cleared more for me the message of Universal House of Justice. And also to say that for the past maybe 200 years, people have gone to physical, because a human, humanity or humans are from spirit, body, and mind. And for the past 200 years, people have gone only to the physical part, physics and mind. They're just working on these two parts, and they have forgotten the spiritual part of humanity, which is the main part. That's why there is so many divisions, so many destructions, and lots of things is happening, because there is no balance. There has to be a balance between these three things, and harmony and unity between spirituality and mind, and no physical. Everything has to be a balance and spirit. But the spirituality, hopefully, that's why Baha'u'llah emphasizes so much on individuals to work on their spiritual parts. Then this butterfly effect will spreads, and everybody, when you love everybody, everybody can feel that spirit. And hopefully it can happen very fast if suddenly everybody realize that we are the spiritual being into a physical man, and spirit is always one, but physical is always divided between. Everybody has a body. That's what I thought would be another part of.
Yeah,
Thank you.
butterfly principle is very valid for these concepts, because something that happens in one part of the world affects the whole world. Like what's happening in the world between Israel and Palestinians. It has affected every one of us. Every one of us are affected. It's got that principle in it. The world has got that principle.
Okay.
And what I wanted to say that I'd forgotten at the time was that being a Baha'i means we believe in Christianity, we believe in Islam, we believe in Judaism, we believe in Zoroastrian, we believe in all faiths. So in a concept is that this is an ancient root. It's got different branches, and we are all one part of one humanity. And labeling ourselves is not really important. We have principles that are same in all religions. Like love your neighbor.
Yes.
It's in all religions. Believing in one God it's one concept.
Jung, you want to say something, or you want me to read the quotation?
Yes, I just want to modify what Jory just mentioned. I don't know what class structure of individual that she was talking about, whether that's individual come from a high class society or the non-high class society. And it means that if they come from the non-high class society, it doesn't mean that they don't have spiritual development. And if they come from the rich society, it doesn't mean that they are perfect at spiritual development. So that you have to case by case. You can't generalize everything in one paragraph, but you have to take case by case.
Yeah, what you're saying is exactly in the letter. You're saying that whether you are a developed country, whether they're living in a developed country or non-developed, whether you are poor or rich, you need these concepts of spiritual, social, and physical transformation in your own level, in your own area, depending on what's your condition. So this is vital. This concept is vital to know that we all need these things. We need this transformation regardless of our state.
Thank you. And this is what I was saying I think it's worth reading so that we all understand what Shoghi Effendi said in the World Order of Baha'u'llah. Nor does the Baha'i revelation, claiming as it does to be the culmination of a prophetic cycle and the fulfillment of the promise of all ages, attempt under any circumstances to invalidate those first and everlasting principles that animate and underlie the religions that have preceded it. The God-given authority vested in each one of them, it admits and establishes as its firmest and ultimate basis. It regards them in no other light except as different stages in the eternal history and constant evolution of one religion, divine and indivisible, of which it itself forms but an integral part. It neither seeks to obscure their divine origin, nor to dwarf the admitted magnitude of their colossal achievements. It can countenance no attempt that seeks to distort their features or to stultify the truths which they instill. Its teachings do not deviate a hairbreadth from the verities they enshrine, nor does the weight of its message detract one jot or one tittle from the influence they exert or the loyalty they inspire. Far from aiming at the overthrow of the spiritual foundation of the world's religious systems, its avowed, its unalterable purpose is to widen their basis, to restate their fundamentals, to reconcile their aims, to reinvigorate their life, to demonstrate their oneness, to restore the pristine purity of their teachings, to coordinate their functions, and to assist in the realization of their highest aspirations. I think we have to remember this, and as much as possible, we should be able to articulate and make this understandable by every friends that we meet, so that we don't see division in ourselves, either in religious sense or in any other sense. Thank you, friends. Do you still have something to say, Jung? Or
Abdullah says that a religion that causes division is no good. It's better not to have it.
Yeah.
I mean, it must so much easier if you just choose a government, whether it's a labor or liberal government, and they will have to take the leading role to be a leader, and then the community follow them, and then the community will have mom and dad, yeah, and so the children follow mom and dad, easy.
Yes.
Unless they study something else like indoctrination by, just say for example, socialist doctrine, so they will become somebody differently.
But these are old orders. It doesn't work. Administrations, institutions must serve the community. They must not rule the community.
It's a long
the new order is not guaranteed 100% achievable.
Well, we don't know.
How by the transformation of individuals in the society, that process will change the way individual, community, and institution works.
Yeah.
And the way that you see, Jung, that when you said that when the government has these kinds of ideals, then the families will have that kind of ideals, and the children will have that kind of ideals. For that government to have that kind of ideals, we had to create a new generation of people with this attitude. And that for that we had to work together to teach the children the spiritual virtues everywhere. and then the changes will happen. But unfortunately, and as Ahmed showed in his presentation, Baha'u'llah wrote to kings and rulers of the world to accept his teachings. Thereby, the followers, his subjects, these kings and rulers, their dependents, will benefit from this, and this unity and peace would have been much easier and faster. Because they rejected, we had to go in the hard way. So let us work together. And thank you for your continued participation and support. I am hoping one day you will give a presentation.
I think Ahmad's lecture just gave me an idea that he talked about privileged group in a society, individual privilege. And I stand for people who need help.
Yes, I mean, I think we agree with you. And so you have these wonderful ideas about working for the downtrodden, poor, vulnerable people. And I hope you can one day give a presentation. And thank you once again, and God bless you, and we'll